So this is the cornea, the pink here, which protects the eye and bends the light that's incoming for focus. And then the pupil is the red, which is a little adjustable opening that the light passes through when it's entering the eye. And the iris is the colored muscle that surrounds the pupil and controls the size that it is. It dilates and constricts in response to the light intensity or emotions. The lens is right behind the pupil, the blue, and it focuses light rays into specific images and projects them to the retina, which is the green here. And the retina is a thin inner surface on the back of the eyeball. It's like the brain of the eye, where like everything kind of makes sense and becomes neural images. And accommodation is when the eye's lens changes and bends to focus on objects near or far from the retina. The rods are here, and they are the photoreceptors in the retina that allow black and white vision and vision when it's dark. And the cones are the pink, and they allow photoreceptors that allow fine detail and color in the daylight. And these are in the fovea, which is here. And the fovea is a small depression in the center of the retina with the cones inside of it.
That was impressive.
The bipolar cells are the white here, and they're specialized cells that connect and transmit information from the eye's rods and cones to the ganglion cells. And the ganglion cells are the orange here, which receive information from the bipolar cells and transmit it to the brain for processing.
And then we have the optic nerve here, and this is where receptors gather sensory information and send it to the brain. It contains bundled axons and ganglion cells that connect the retina to the brain. And we have, then there's the blind spot in that area where the optic nerve leaves the eye, and there are no receptor cells located there, but the brain automatically fills this gap. There's the optic schism. This is the point in the brain where optic nerves fiber from both eyes cross over one another. The left half of info from both retinas, and then the right side of the occipital lobe, and vice versa. Then we have the thalamus, which is this pink in here. This is where most sensory information besides smell goes before being sent to the correct cortex for processing. Then we have the visual cortex in the occipital lobe. It is the area of the brain that processes and responds to visual stimuli, and it's the part of the cerebral cortex involved in vision. Then we have feature detectors right around here. They are neurons, nerve cells making up the cerebral cortex in the brain that respond to specific features of the stimulus like shape, angle, and movement. Then there's a trichomatic theory, and that's a theory that says the retina has 3 different color receptors. It registers red, green, and blue. Combined, they produce perception of light. And then the opponent theory, the opponent process theory, which means opposing retinal processes, red, green, yellow, blue, and white, black, enable color vision. The opponent, that's it.
Okay, and then for the ear, this is the pinna, which is the outer ear, and it collects sound and directs the outer sound to the outer ear canal. And then the auditory canal is the area between the outer ear and the eardrum. The eardrum, also known as the tympanic membrane, which is this white piece, is a thin membrane that vibrates when sound waves reach it. The hammer is a small bone that passes vibrations from the eardrum to the anvil, which is this small bone, which then passes vibrations to the stirrup, which is a small U-shaped bone that passes vibrations to the cochlea. The cochlea is a snail-shaped tube of tissue sensitive to vibrations. It's filled with fluid, and then it's also filled with basilar membrane, which is this pink here, which is a very thin, sensitive tissue that senses the cochlea's vibrations. Hair cells, which are these green bits, are found on the basilar membrane and are connected to neurons. So when these hair cells start to vibrate, the connecting neurons become excited. The auditory nerve is an adjacent nerve triggered by hair cell movement, which is up here. And then the thalamus the auditory nerve then sends neural messages to the auditory cortex through the thalamus. So it goes from the thalamus to the auditory nerve to the thalamus to the auditory cortex, which is located in the temporal lobe, which is involved in hearing, language processing, and memory. And then there's also the Eustachian tube, which connects the middle ear to the back of the nose and equalizes the pressure between the middle ear and ear outside, which is right here. There's also semicircular canals, which are 3 loops of fluid-filled tubes attached to the cochlea in the inner ear, and it helps us maintain our sense of balance, which are the orange here.